Hello, lovely people. It's Nicola back in the Stitches and Slapdashery sewing room. It's been a great day off. We had a day where it only got to about 20 degrees and it was rainy and cloudy and wonderful. It was a little humid, but still much better than blazing hot sunshine. A nice little respite from the dry heat we normally have. So I enjoyed that. Of course, I was meeting with a committee member for the festival that I'm helping with in a park at 1:30, and of course it rained on us. And then I went walking around the downtown area to drop some letters off to see if I could rustle up some donations for the silent auction. Still raining. And I even put some laundry on the line today, which ended up having to go in the dryer because there was no way it was going to get dry. I'm a British person with perfect confidence in hanging one's laundry out in any conditions. Mistakenly today, apparently. So I've got a few things to talk about today. I have been obsessively slow stitching. Can hardly say that. Obsessively slow stitching. And as far as I'm concerned, the embroidery part, the slow stitch part of my journal wrap is done. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is showing you how I line it and get it all finished off. Currently, it's just, I'll show you what it looks like now, and then later on in the video, I'll show you what I do to get it finished. Very exciting. And I have a friend coming over tomorrow afternoon for tea or coffee, and I was going to work on that while she was here, and that part's done. So I'm going to have to start a new project tomorrow. No great hardship there. The other thing I need to talk about is the sweater. I finished knitting the sweater. The ends are woven in and everything. I do have to do my little practice on the beanie, my swatch beanie or swatch cap. So you'll probably see me do a little bit of practice on that later in the video. I haven't done that yet either. One of the things I do want to do now, though, I had some happy mail. My AliExpress order arrived and it came yesterday, and even though I was excited to open it, I thought I'd wait till tonight and do it on camera. A little bit of unboxing, as it were. Now, I had like 30 emails from AliExpress, it seemed like, that said, thanks for your order. This one is ready to ship. This one's ready to ship. There were 3 items. So each one seemed to have a separate email that said, it's ready to ship, it's shipped, you can track your order, it's out for delivery. And it was like, really? They're sending me so many messages that I was really wondering. Anyway, it arrived way faster than I thought it would. I can't remember what date I ordered this, but no more than 2 weeks ago, I'm sure. So a little bit of rustling. Sorry about that. We're still looking a little bit battered. Suppose it came a long way. Oh, that's funny. This one is actually wrapped as if to ship, but it was put in to the other bag. In fact, they're all wrapped individually as if to ship and then put in one bag. That's hilarious. Okay, I can feel from this, I think this is the rotary cutter, so let's get this open. Ouch. Because what would a video be without me either stabbing myself with a pin or scissors or burning myself on the iron? Here we go, 45mm rotary cutter. Exactly the same as the last one I bought years and years ago that still works, even though it only cost me $10. This one, because it was part of the introductory deal for being a new customer, I used a different email this time. I couldn't remember what my old password was or anything, or whether I even had my regular email address way back when I used to order from them. So I just went in as if I was a new customer, and I got this super cheap. And there should be a set of blades in here. Yep. So for this and this, 10 rotary cutter blades and this, $2.50. Yep, definitely a good deal. So if this works as well as the last one, I am going to be very happy about that. I will probably keep it as a backup for now because the other one works. I mentioned before that when I got the last one out of its packet, that I think I squeezed the handle and a piece of plastic broke off, and it was supposed to be the safety thing. I've used it fine without the safety thing on for years. What's nice about this style is that when you let go of it, the blade retracts, and so it's never really felt necessary to have an extra safety feature on it, especially as there's no small children in this house. So that's fine. All right, so the other two things I ordered were Pearl 8 cotton, although it was just called number 8 crochet cotton or something. I'm very interested to see what this is like. Now, I've never embroidered with Pearl 8 cotton, crochet cotton, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. Why don't I just throw all this trash on the floor? Why not? I don't need it anymore. Yeah, it got a little battered, but that's okay because the stuff inside should not be breakable. Yeah, and it's funny because they could call it Cotton Pearl 8 on the side, but they spell Pearl P-E-A-R-L rather than P-E-R-L-E. So it's the same thing that everyone's been talking about on the Arty Farty Annie group on Facebook. So I'm looking forward to seeing the colours. Now, if you were watching my vlog a couple of weeks ago, you'll know that when I did this order with AliExpress, I got so excited about putting all these things in my cart because I thought I was getting an introductory discount on all of the things I bought, plus the free shipping. As it turned out, the introductory discount was only on one item. So I had to scale back and I ended up just ordering 2 boxes. Ooh, pretty. So I think that's probably the lights. I have 1 box of lights and 1 box of brights. So pretty. So these are, I think they said on the description that there was 43 yards in one. 100% Egyptian long staple cotton, singed and mercerized twice. I somehow don't think they mean singed because that means burned. They say there's 5 grams on each one, but I'm pretty sure the description on AliExpress said 43 yards on each one. They're very cute. So that one has got a peachy one and a pink and a lime, running out of voice, a light, well, I guess you'd call it aqua, pale green, orange, light yellow, light blue, what would you call that? Almost like a sagey green, maybe. Maybe a robin's egg blue, or is that the robin's egg blue? I never know. So exceedingly pretty. And it's interesting because having not got up close and personal with crochet cotton before, I didn't expect them to look twisted. I guess I expected them to be more smooth and string-like, like yarn, like some of that cotton yarn you can get. But actually these are very fine and twisted and thinner than I expected. So I think they're going to be quite nice to slow stitch with. Okay, I'm excited to get the next one. So if you order these, I got these when I went into AliExpress and did my search for number 8 crochet cotton. The shop name, I think it was Amohilos, I think Amohilos. And they had tons and tons of different packs of 10. It was so hard to choose. So this one, let me see if there's a code or anything on this. Not really. It was just a number. Like all the sets were just numbered, and I can't remember which one I bought now. Just got a barcode on it, but it doesn't have a number that relates to the one I selected on my add to cart option. But anyway, let's have a look at the other one. This one should be in better condition because it's actually got bubble wrap around it. Isn't it funny how what you think is just a crappy pair of little scissors that you got from some random place? I don't think I even paid for these. I think they came in a bundle of something from somewhere. And they're my favourite scissors to have on my sewing table because they're so sharp and they're fantastic at snipping threads. Just lucky, I guess. All right. So, yeah, I don't think these have a number or anything on them. Oh, these are so lovely. Look at the bright colors. I'll show you them side by side. So I got the kind of pastels, the lights, what I call the lights and the brights. How pretty are those? So here we've got a fuchsia and a blue and a red and, oh, what would you call that? Even deeper fuchsia, maybe. And a lime green, but lime green is much darker than that one. And a dark red and a lighter red and a yellow, pink, and a really bright turquoise. Ooh, drool. So this is awesome timing because when my friend comes over tomorrow, I can try them out. So I invested in a few bits and pieces at Michael's yesterday. This is the thing. I happened to be buying something for my son. He'd seen something, a silicone mold maker on Michael's website, and he said, would you be able to pick it up for me? We're allowed to use our staff discounts on family purchases. He lives in my household. As far as I'm concerned, that's fine. So as I was shopping for the silicone mold maker, I had a little list for some other things. And I did stick to the list, honest. But as to whether these things were 100% essential, well, I don't think I can claim that. But anyway, let's start with this one. Oh, it's heavy. I have been wanting a small iron for quite some time. I don't do a lot of tutorials. It's not like when I'm one of these YouTube channels where I need a little tiny iron to look cute underneath the camera while I'm making something to show you, although that will be nice. But I noticed when I was doing all that string piecing for that quilt top recently, I had my homemade ironing pad to one side of my sewing machine, and I had to keep leaning over, picking up my heavy iron and ironing each seam. So for every block, I was probably having to pick up the iron at least 10 times. And it got tiring. The blocks only took 10 minutes to make, and there were, I think, 36 in the quilt. But it's a lot of lifting. And yeah, I've got a kind of a weak wrist because I broke it in 2018. So I have now invested in one of these. And this is one of these little cute things. I don't think I'm going to open it right now. It's got one of those annoying sealed packages which you have to like battle with scissors and cutting yourself on the nasty plastic and everything to get it open. But I will test it out and I'll give you a review. It says it's a steam iron, which is good. I'm not sure where the water goes. I don't know how you put the water in as yet. But it's very cute. Probably in the top there. But you'll see when I'll unpackage it properly at some point and you'll see it. But if you look carefully at the front of the iron, it's got two little blue dots on it and a little red thing, which is actually, I think, probably the I'm switched on light, but it looks like a little mouse. Isn't that cute? And the handle looks quite comfortable. Like it looks like you can grab it really easily. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy testing this out. It's funny, we used to sell these when I was working at Fabricland. I used to see them on the wall all the time and I never ever bought one. But I have a feeling that the Fabric Land ones were a lot more expensive. I'm pretty sure they had them on regular for like $80, and very occasionally they might go on sale at $40. You know, they say never to buy anything unless you've got a coupon, right? How much did I pay for this? Let's be brutally honest here. Mighty Steam. Okay, so I paid $37 with my seniors discount. No, my employee discount. I do qualify for a seniors discount, but not in addition to my employee discount. So I paid $37 plus tax. We have GST and PST here. We have like the whole countrywide GST, goods and services tax, and we also have the provincial goods and services. So if you pay both, it's like an extra 12%. And it's dual voltage, so you can use it as a travel iron. Ha! Who irons clothes these days? This is for crafting. Anyway, let's put that aside. I think we've talked about that enough. I'll talk more about it when I get using it. Second thing I bought was this. Oh, yeah, this was a bit of a splurge. This is called, it's by Ranger. It's called Jim Holtz, I think, Distress Permanent Mixed Media Ink Palette. So this is for rubber stamping. There are 4 colors: hickory smoke, vintage photo, ground espresso, and black soot. Don't you just love it? The ground espresso. I nearly said espresso. The ground espresso sounds good, doesn't it? So it says archival ink. It is permanent, and I'm hoping that it will work on fabric. It says acid-free and non-toxic, permanent multi-surface ink, waterproof when dry. So 4 colors. Come on, ring light, stop glaring on it. So I'm excited to try that out. I think that will work on fabric, because if you remember, I tried my regular, what is it called, like a Trodat ink pad that's really, one of the cheap things, and I put that on fabric. I didn't heat set it. Someone left a comment, thank you, on that vlog, and suggested I should have ironed that first and maybe tried to heat set it that way. I did not iron it. That might have helped, but the little samples I did, and I put them through the laundry, they definitely did blur afterwards. So this will hopefully not. Item number 3. I had my eye on something completely different from this. I was going to get some ready-made neck cords. There was a pack of 3 cords which had the hardware on and everything. So a little while ago, I made this out of scrap fabric, some beads, and a little bit of hand stitching, which was fun. I really enjoyed that. But I didn't have a way to actually wear it because I wanted to wear it as a necklace. Thought that would be cool. So I was just going to get some ready-made necklaces. There were 2 kinds. They either had, and this is in Michael's again, they had either a pack of 3, which wasn't in stock when I first looked, or 3 different colored ones. And when I went to get them yesterday, I was looking at them and I said to myself, these say suede on them. And it's a bit confusing because when you look at the Michael's website, they say suede. On the packaging, it says suede, but on the peg behind the product, it says suede look. And I thought, I'm not risking it because I do not use any animal products whatsoever, so I'm not going to buy a suede necklace. So instead, I bought something that was most definitely faux suede. And now I'm looking at the colors I've bought. I'm not sure that they're really going to go with this. Oh, maybe. Oh, there's a purple one. Yeah. So the thing I ended up getting was this pack Creatology is the kids range at Michael's. And it says faux suede cording, if that's not glaring off there too much. So you get six colours. There's some different sets of colours. There was a set of neutrals, but you know me, I'm not a neutral sort of person. I like colour. So I went for the one that has pink, red, orange, purple, turquoise and lime green. So basically, if you take out the red, that's all my favourite colours right there. So, what was I saying? Right. They are 2.3 millimeters wide. There are 6 colours and there's 14 meters in each one. That's quite a lot. That's good. Now, I have a necklace upstairs, which actually I think has a waxed cotton cord. But what it is, it's just a length of cotton cord and it goes around your neck and it's long enough to basically knot onto itself. And you slide the knots down to tighten it up and you just slide the knots back so that you can take it off over your head. What I'm hoping is that this will work for that. So I won't need any hardware. I can just tie a little knot at each side and put it on and off that way. So that's going to be another thing which I'll want to get done during this vlog, probably. Am I planning too much for this vlog? Will I be having to go to part 2? I don't know. We'll see. Do I have tomorrow off? I do have tomorrow off, but as I said, a friend's coming at 1. I'll probably be baking something like cookies in the morning. And I'll be starting a new slow stitch project with her, because that was the plan. And then I work on Friday, but only for 4 hours. So I'm thinking I'm starting this vlog tonight, but over the next couple of days, I should get everything done that I want to get done. I hope. And finally, in this big bag of tricks, I bought some of the Lion Brand Respun. I'm not cheating, and this is not a fitness challenge reward, ball of yarn. Honest. This is I'm going to make a beanie out of this, and I'm going to review the yarn for a separate video on the channel. So this is a Lion Brand Respun, 100% recycled polyester from plastic bottles, no less. And looking at Ravelry, I think there's like 3 weights of this. I think there might be a bulky one and another one. And the funny thing was, until they showed up at Michael's a week ago, I had never heard of this stuff. So it was quite a surprise to go look at this on Ravelry and find out that 2,000 balls of it had been stashed by people on Ravelry before I'd even heard of it. Have I been living under a rock? Anyway, I did a little segment in the last vlog where I panned across all the lovely colours this comes in. What I love about this stuff so much is that it's heathered colours. Sometimes you just get a bit fed up with all those solids, you know, and you want something with a bit of subtlety. What? Subtlety, Nicola? Me? But yeah, something with a little bit of a heathered colour rather than a solid, and I do love that. So this is a 10-ounce skein, 284 grams. It's worsted weight, number 4 over here. That would be like in the UK, an Aran weight, but slightly thicker. Somewhere between an Aran and a chunky for you in the UK. And they're recommending, really? They're recommending a 4.5 millimeter needle for this? Normally I would use at least a 5 or 5.5 even for a worsted weight, maybe a 5 needle. And they're saying a 6 millimeter hook. That is really weird. 4.5 mil needle or a 6 mil hook. Fascinating. Okay, obviously that's just a recommended hook size or needle size. You obviously use whatever you need to do to get the gauge you need, right? Or the drape you need in your fabric. But yeah, machine wash, tumble dry low. 100% post-consumer recycled polyester, certified by Intertech 200774. And this color is called Alpine. And I rather like that even the wrapper has got that nice sort of recycled paper feel to it. I have queued up a pattern on Ravelry. Let me see if I can remember what it's called. I think it was called the Snowy Wheat Puff Beanie. Yeah, I mentioned it last time. Snowy Wheat Puff Beanie. And what I thought I would do, seeing as I haven't crocheted anything for so long, it feels like, and someone made a comment the other day that they're a crocheter, but they still watch my other stuff, but they're a crocheter, and I thought, I get the hint. I'm going to do a bit of crochet because I miss it. I miss having a hook in my hand. So, going to crochet a beanie. I think what I'm going to do is probably crochet the beanie before I start doing any embellishing on the front of the sweater. I'll practice on the practice hat, right? I'll practice on the practice hat, but I won't start embellishing the sweater until I've made this. I'm going to take a little break from knitting, do some crochet. So I'm really looking forward to that too. So seeing as I just mentioned the sweater, let's grab this. What was I doing last night? No, it wasn't last night. It was yesterday morning. I woke up so early yesterday morning that in the end I thought, oh, I might as well get out of bed. I had to be at work for 11, and I kept looking at the clock thinking, is the clock right? I'm wide awake and it seems really light outside, and I'm not sure if my clock is telling me the right time. But I checked Mr. Stitch's clock on the other side of the bed, and his said the same time. And I'm like, okay, it's early. I'm going to get up anyway. I'm not going back to sleep. So I got everything done that I needed to get done, right? I had breakfast, I showered, I packed my lunch and everything. And I had a whole hour to knit. So I got most of this finished. And then last night, about 9 o'clock last night, I was procrastinating a little bit. I only had 3 rounds to finish on the cuff. I thought, to hell with it, Nicola, just do it. You know you should do it. So I did put this on today, but I'm not going to put it on now. For a start, it'll mess with the microphone, which I see has drooped again. I'm going to adjust it again. I'm really not having much luck with these clip-on microphones. I think I prefer the ones I used to have. Anyway, I'm not going to put it on, but I have put it on, and I am pretty happy with it. The fit is good. If anything, I could possibly have added a couple more inches to the length of the body. I always say this. I always end up thinking I wish I'd made it a bit longer. It comes down to my hip crease at the front and about halfway across my butt at the back, which is fine for wearing with jeans or whatever. If I'd wanted to make it even more enveloping, though, a couple more inches in the length would have been nice. That's fine. Not going back to change it. I do have the yarn left over, but I'm not going to go back and extend it. The sleeves are pretty huge. They're very, very roomy. That top half of the arm is verging on too big, but I'm going to leave it. It's fine. This is going to be such a lovely squishy sweater to wear in the winter. It's very fuzzy already. If you buy this yarn, it's the Wool Warehouse. From Wool Warehouse. Yarn Smiths Create Super Chunky, 100% acrylic. And I used a 10mm hook for the body and an 8mm for the ribbing, but it fuzzed up quite a bit just in knitting. I have a feeling it's going to be quite pilly, but it's going to probably turn into one of those, or it's going to be one of those lovely slouchy warm things that you turn to anytime you want to be comforted and cozy and, loll around on the couch in the winter. I think it's going to be one of those sweaters. I just hope that the colors on the front work out and I don't have to pick them out because I hate them. So yeah, I wove in all my ends today. I also added a little bit of, if you've ever done a top-down sweater, you might know sometimes you get a little bit, almost a little bit of gappy stuff, like either side of the extra underarm stitches. So I made sure all of that was closed up and everything. So happy with that so far. So yeah, I'm going to have to keep this beanie up because I want to do something with that. And I'm going to have to keep this out because I want to do something with that. Not today because it's probably like 9 o'clock at night right now and I'm not going to stay up late. Seeing as I'm in a good habit of going to bed at a reasonable time and getting up early, I think I should stick with that. So one more thing to show you before I finish for this little segment. This is the slow stitched panel that is made up of lots of fabric scraps and batting on the back and a whole ton of embroidery floss. I'll see how close up we can get here. Absolutely addicted to this now. The stitches are really simple. Like if you know how to do a running stitch or a back stitch or a French knot, you could do this easily. There's a couple of other things in there I did that were just a little bit more interesting, where I did some spokes and I just wove it in and out in a spiral there. That was slightly different. What else? Yeah, I just did some little triangles which sort of echoed the owl fabric right there. Looked a bit like beaks. Tiny bit of satin stitch, but really hardly any. Some little X's there. Most of my embroidery, like the first 90% of the embroidery, I was following the patterns in the fabrics, which is why I picked out fabrics with a strong pattern. And then for the last 10%, I was just doing running stitches across and up and down, just to catch down any overly raggedy bits or open areas that I hadn't really stitched densely enough. It's got a lovely, lovely feel to it. It's so drapey and textury. It feels really lovely. So at some point, hopefully in the next couple of days, I'll be trimming this back. It's going to be fitting onto this notebook. So I'm just seeing, actually what I didn't do is I didn't measure. Hold on a minute. Seeing as I have my tape measure here, I think I cut this batting at 17 by, what was it, 15, 11 and a half? I know I measured around the notebook with plenty for overlap, and then I also did the height. Hold on a minute. Yeah. So I measured what I wanted it to finish at and then added 2 inches to the across and up and down measurement because I knew this would probably suck in with all this stitching. So let's just see what the 17 inches ended up at. Oh, it didn't change. That surprised me. Wow, it didn't change at all. So much for that. So that's actually really good. That means I wasn't sewing too tightly because I didn't bring it in. And yet it looks like I did because there's a lot of what looks like puckering, but I guess that's just pillowing in between the stitches. I don't know if that's what you'd call it. Oh, so it didn't shrink at all. That's amazing. So yeah, at some point soon I'm going to be trimming some height off it. And then, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be trimming much length off it at all. I did allow an extra 2 inches, but you know what? That's pretty good. So I think I'll probably only be trimming maybe a centimetre off all around. The height's a bit much. Yeah. So I don't think I'll take more than 1 centimetre off the side edges, but I might take a bit more than that off the top and bottom. And I made a plan. I drew this out, and what I think I'm going to do is when I do the lining, I had a good idea for the lining. So I'll cut the lining the same size as this, but then I'll cut a second piece and I'll fold it in half rather. So I have a folded piece and I can place that onto the plain lining piece and sew some channels in it. And so what I'm planning is that this will open like this. It's going to have a tie that will wrap around and hold it all closed. But when you open this and then open this side, there'll be some channels, maybe 3 channels for pens on that right hand side as I open it, and then on the very back of the piece, like behind the notebook, and maybe on this bit here, there'll be just a wider couple of pockets so that you could put little bits and pieces in it that are flat, maybe bits of paper, stickers, a ruler, whatever else you might want to put in that's not too bulky. I thought about putting slots for 3 pens on each side, and then I thought, oh, I didn't allow for that when I cut the size out, and I thought it might be too bulky to have like the bulk of 3 pens right here and then more on this side. So yeah, I'm just going to have two fairly wide pockets and then 3 narrow pockets, and that way you can keep your journal in there along with some pens. So I've got that all planned out on this piece of paper. And yeah, as you can see, I've got a crap ton of embroidery floss still left because my friend who's coming over tomorrow was so generous giving me all of these recently that I have got enough for 100 years here. Thank you, Annette. Okay. So 3 projects to finish, hopefully in this vlog, and then another project for the next video. Oh, I feel so organized. I'm very excited. I managed to, well, I didn't say I managed to get out of bed super early. I was awake really early. I don't know why, but I didn't sleep well. So I had set my alarm for 6, but I was awake multiple times before that. So when I got up at 6, I did my usual checking all my stuff, checking all the social media that everyone does these days. And had my cup of tea. And then did everything I needed to get ready for work, packed a snack. It's just a 4-hour shift today, so I'll just get one 15-minute break. So I just need a piece of banana walnut cake from yesterday and my water. So that's done. I've got my contacts in. I'm all dressed and ready to go. And I just checked the webcams so that I can make sure that the roads are pretty clear and I don't need to allow an hour to get to work rather than my usual 45 minutes. It should only take me 20, but I hate being late. It was drilled into me from a very young age not to be late for anything. This is not a very flattering angle for me, is it? Especially with the reading glasses on. Anyway, I'll just tip you down and show you what I'm doing. Excuse the hand there. I just managed to switch you off. I'm going to tip you down now. Oh, let's just put the little tiny tripod a little higher and then do that. How's that? Can you see? So I have to say I am not being slapdash with this. I'm afraid I am not living down to my usual expectations or your usual expectations. I'm just finishing off the journal wrap, except for the tie, which I still have to do. So what I did was I trimmed a little bit off all the sides of my slow stitched piece, and I basted it. I machine basted it with long stitches because I was worried about my cut embroidery stitches coming loose. So I did a little bit of machine basting with a long stitch. And then I cut my lining, my 2 lining pieces. And I decided on this beautiful flowery fabric. So 2 lining pieces so that I could have these pockets in it, which I'll show you properly when it's finished, when the sewing is finished. And then I put them back to back with a little bit of 505 spray, and I bound them like a quilt. So I just cut a 2.5 inch wide strip, well, 2.5 inch wide strips actually, because I needed the length, and sewed them together and then did it like a quilt lining. And I hadn't really thought ahead that much, but I was doing this last night and it was getting a little bit late. Well, by which I mean 9:30. I mean, it's not super late, but I knew I had to get up for work in the morning. And I thought, oh, normally I'd want to rush this and machine stitch the quilt binding down on the other side. And I thought, quite often when I do that, I end up missing the edge of the binding and it looks crappy. And I thought, no, seeing as this has been a mostly hand-stitched project, I am going to hand sew the binding down. It's not like it's a queen-size quilt or anything. It's not going to take long. That's what I'm doing. And it means that even my corners will look good, mostly. I think that diagonal line there is supposed to end up right on the intersection of the fabric at this point, and it doesn't quite. So I may not have pushed my corners out quite perfectly, but by hand stitching this down, I'm doing a way better job than I would have done by the machine. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do for the tie yet, which is why I haven't incorporated one as yet. I'm considering using some of my handmade fabric twine, which is the stuff, which is a gorgeous, but maybe a bit thick. I'm not sure yet. So, as usual, this is a project that's growing organically, shall we say. And I don't have it all planned out at the beginning. We have an event to go to tomorrow. I think I might have mentioned it already. It's my husband's company, not his company. It's the company he works for. It's their Christmas in the summer party. And I am seriously considering taking a little bit of yarn and a hook. So I've got something to do with my hands. Because I know that even though there's going to be quite a few people there, most of them won't be interested in talking to me. I don't really know them. There's been a big change in the staff over the recent couple of years, 18 months. I used to know them all. And now I don't really know many of them at all. And there's going to be other spouses there with, which is equally awkward for them as well, I'm sure. Except they'll probably be drinking and I don't. Alcohol is good for greasing the wheels, isn't it, in a social situation? But seeing as I don't partake, I think that being friendly, but having crochet with me will work for me tomorrow. It's going to be hot again, which is probably just as well, seeing as we'll be on the lake. I have to keep an eye on the time. I think when I get to this corner, I'm going to have to put this down and do the last. I'm so close to being done. I've just got one short end to do and around the last corner, but I don't want to make myself late. I've done this a bit differently today. In previous quilts, when I've hand sewn the binding, I've sort of done it this way. I've held it this way, and I've sewn into my stitching line from attaching it on the other side, and I've done it like that. This time, I'm doing it this way, and I'm doing more of a ladder stitch. So I'm going just under the stitching here, so it's not pulling on the stitching. So I'm going into the fabric, and then straight across and into the fold. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of hard to see anything with this busy fabric, but I do love it. I'm tearing myself away from my sewing. It's so difficult, but I'm going to have to do it. And my microphone's drooping again. Honestly, I think it needs some medical help. The slow stitch journal is done. At least this one. I've got another one in the works, but you'll see that next time. So there's all my stitching. There's the nice neat binding. I love the way that finishes off the edge. It really does. There's still some little threads coming off the edges of my fabric, but I think that just adds a bit of character. Not going to snip them all off. Mostly everything's tacked down safely. Oh, I love it. It's just a riot of colour. I ended up going with some of my fabric twine for the wrap. What I did was just cut a piece that goes around a couple of times, and I made a knot in the middle and then sewed the knot down. This is the gorgeous lining. As you can see, I have room for 3 pens in here, and if I wanted to keep any little bits of paper or stickers or anything to go in my journal or that wouldn't fit in my journal, I could put them in these pockets like so. Love it. And because this was a really boring dollar store notebook, that was what, $1.75? The glue is still drying here. I got a pad of paper that I had from a while back. I think it was just from the dollar store. It was either dollar store or thrift store. So I went with the feathers and arrows. I know it doesn't go with the flower theme at all, but I just wanted to bling it up a little bit. So I stuck this paper on the back and the front. Yeah, it's still drying. There's a couple of bubbles in there, but I think they'll disappear when it dries properly. So you just pop your journal in there. You fold that side over, you fold that side over. And then the idea is take these to the back, cross them over, bring them back to the front again, and just tie a loose knot. Couldn't really be any more colourful, could it? And this fabric twine is fraying like mad, but I love it. It's so full of character. And I made this literally years ago, this ball. I've used a little bit of it for gift wrapping for a couple of friends. The basket that I made for my friend that I gave her for a housewarming gift recently, I put some of this around it. and I really, really would like to make some more. I think if ever I'm between projects and I don't know what to make next, then I should make more of this just because it's so darned pretty. So this project is done. I love it. I'm at the point now where I'm ready to move on to my next slow stitching project and also put the sweater aside for now and crochet that beanie that I mentioned earlier. So something a little fresh and new for next vlog. Yeah. Loving it. Well, it looks like we've come to the end of another vlog. It's been a good day. I'm glad I got a little bit of stitching time in before I went to work. What was going to be a 4-hour shift ended up being a 6.5-hour shift because they must have been short-staffed this afternoon, and one of the managers asked me if I'd stay on for an extra 2.5 hours till 4:30. So I said, okay. Which actually meant I was due another break. So instead of just a 15-minute break, I got a 30-minute break as well. And of course, I'd eaten my cake by then. So I went over to Starbucks and got a big coffee. And I was on cash and talking to customers at twice my normal speed for the rest of the afternoon. I was well caffeinated. Wow. So I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. I've enjoyed making it as always. And yeah, I'm gonna get that crocheted beanie started next, and also spend some nice quiet time on the new slow stitching project. It probably won't be tonight though, because I'm tired and I need to edit these last little clips and get them up for you. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.